Joining me now live is Professor of Political Science at Cyprus College and political analyst Peter Mathews. Peter, it's now been 24 hours almost since Donald Trump was impeached for the second time. What's been the reaction in the US?
Well, the majority of Americans supported it. In fact, there was a 232 to 197 vote, and 10 Republicans broke ranks from their party and actually voted for impeachment. So it's pretty significant as a message to the president and anyone else who wants to encourage sedition or insurrection illegally to not ever do that again. And there's some real investigations going on to see if it was somewhat of an inside job, if there was some collusion from within the Congress or within the intelligence, or not the, the law enforcement services, and also retired Army and military. There's some real big investigation going on right now about that.
And you mentioned the 10 Republicans that voted for Trump in that vote. What does this mean for the party moving forward in terms of fixing itself and moving out of the Trump-era shadows?
I think it's a hopeful sign. It's not going to be a very easy task because the party is split. At least 40% of it is still very hardcore Trump supporters and reflect what we saw in the Capitol, some of those folks. But there's also a large number of people, close to half or more, who are Republicans who want to move on and to observe the rule of law. They didn't support the uprising, this insurrection. And therefore, those Republicans want to rebuild the party. And they're led by leaders who have been around for a while, as well as new leaders coming up. Mitch McConnell is one of them who says it's time to move on. And we'll have to see how they can be successful in doing so. It's quite a task.
And in terms of the Democrats, what's their end game here? Will they stop at nothing to make sure that Donald Trump can't run again?
I believe they will, actually. That's why the impeachment was so important, but there's also the removal process that takes part with the Senate. And Mitch McConnell is doing everything he can to delay that process till where it's later, and then President Trump will be out of office. Another 6 days, he'll be out of office. And so Mitch McConnell does not want to have the trial right now, although he could, if he agreed with Chuck Schumer, as Chuck Schumer wants to do, to go ahead and call the entire Senate back into session right now. He could do that on an emergency basis and conduct the trial and convict President Trump, and then vote to ban him from office again. If he doesn't get convicted during this time, there could still be a post-exit vote after Trump leaves office in order to have the ban itself voted upon by a majority of the Senate to prevent him from ever taking office again. So all these things are in development right now. It's quite complex and very interesting, to say the least.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating set of circumstances. Peter, we've also seen, of course, the National Guard mobilised, and we're expecting about 20,000 for the inauguration last week. That's an extraordinary security effort. How tense are Americans right now about the further possibility of more riots?
Well, Danica, this is a very unusual circumstance that we're going through, obviously, and there's a reflection of it. 20,000 National Guards people in the Capitol right now to guard against anything that could happen between now and the inauguration. So I think it's very, very critical. It depends how these folks react, the ones that came in and took over the Capitol, if they're going to be coming back again. But I do believe our intelligence services, the FBI, others are investigating and making sure. They've arrested about 100 people already who took part in that, who could do this again. So there's government effort. There are really good people in the government and the police forces who don't want this to ever happen again. It's just a stain on our democracy. I believe they're doing a good job. I think they will be successful in having a peaceful inauguration.
Fingers crossed, particularly after what's been a very difficult few weeks. Peter Mathews, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you, Danica.
Now it is time to check in.